So kindness, 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 and the awesomeness of kindness. I think that's an amazing title, The Awesomeness of Kindness. And I gave some thought to it because I think in Canada, we're nice. And I'm not sure that that's the same as kind. So I had to give some really deep thought to this, actually, the difference between nice and kind. But I was thinking about how relevant is kind in the world today. And honestly speaking, I think it's a bit of a superhero in today's world, kindness. I think it's incredibly relevant. So tonight I'd like to just explore its relevance. But I think, and I'll go kind of quickly into it because I think that, there are many words we could use to describe the inherent quality of every human being. And one of those words, the main word actually, is love. That human beings, at their very core, are peaceful, powerful, happy. Underneath all the noise and the sorrow, there's this bedrock that never moves, never moves. And one of those is love. One of those core qualities is love. I'd like to quote Tolkien, the soul who wrote The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. He said, "Some believe it is only great power that can hold evil in check. But that is not what I have found. It is the small, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay, small acts of kindness and love." And as you know, the story of the ring, it's a couple of little hobbits, little nobodies, really, in the state of the world, who through their consistent daily acts of kindness actually transform the world. So kindness is to be found at the very heart of what we need right now in the world, I think, and the ordinary folk. So when we think about love, though, there's so many words we could use to describe that core energy of the soul: benevolence, care, compassion, concern, courtesy. Look at this list. This is just a small tip in the iceberg: gentleness, goodness, goodwill, grace, gracious, sweetness, tenderness, thoughtfulness, tolerance, understanding, unselfishness. So many. But what I love about kindness, and what I think is so awesome about kindness, is that it's kind of like the all-purpose, everyday, all-rounder, in every situation, expression of my natural state of love. Okay, I may not love everybody, but I can be kind. Like, it's useful in all situations. And I think as a child, many of us were taught to be kind no matter what, whether you liked the person or not. And I think it's a close cousin of respect. And I think those two qualities in any situation at any time with anybody are a given. And I think this is because we want to restore some kind of civility to our world. And I think we all notice it drifting, it dissolving some of the kindness we're accustomed to. So I think that kindness is a small touch that's always the right moment. It's never a wrong moment for kindness, in other words. And that's why it's so good in all situations. So I thought tonight we'd explore two aspects of kindness. One is kind to the self, and the other is kind to others. So I'd like to start with the kind to self, because I think it's, we say it, but I think it's really, really true that if I am unable to be fundamentally, profoundly kind to myself, then I am actually unable to be kind to others. And so I'll invite you, but it's not always easy to be kind to the self. And even though I may be being kind to myself superficially, unless I'm kind to myself quite deeply, something in me will get triggered and I won't be able to be kind to others, especially in situations that are a bit challenging. So we'll do just a quick little exercise with me. I know our timing is close, but we'll take 5 minutes on this if we can, and then a little meditation. But I'd invite you to think about, well, actually, I invite you to take your right hand and to place it on your heart and see if you can hear or feel your heartbeat, which is, of course, brings us into deep silence inside. Okay. And then place your other hand over top. So you've got two hands on your heart. As you're pressing your hands in, you should be able to feel your heart even more. I'd like you to close your eyes for a moment and just check, how kind are you to yourself? And maybe your answer is not so kind, or maybe your answer is sometimes, or maybe your answer is I'm trying. All of those are okay, because that's where we're at right now. I think it's really important that we learn first to be kind to ourselves. And I thought about myself and how kind I am to myself. And when I ask myself the question, what stops me from being kind to myself? It always comes back to self judgment. It always comes down to there's a voice in my head that tells me I'm not okay, I'm not good, I'm not kind, or that has the last mistake kind of glaringly still present in my mind. But it's a fundamental. We know that over time, through acting in ways that were not aligned with my highest and my best, because I needed to, I didn't have the power in that moment to do the right thing, or I really needed something, love or help or whatever, and I acted in a way to get it that maybe was beneath me. Um, but that's okay. That's we know that's how it is for the soul. But somehow these memories are in me and I can't shake them. So I've got this little shadow of you're not good, you're not kind, you're not. So it's hard to be kind when you feel something's wrong with you or you're bad. And that's a funny thing. Why wouldn't I be kinder with myself actually? But I'm blaming myself for wrong things, even if was the best I could do in that moment. So there's not a lot of self compassion, let's say. So I did this little exercise recently where I was looking at what is it deep, 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 deep down inside that would prevent me from being like genuinely kind to myself all the time, all the time. And there was this belief, there was this thought there that I have about myself. And I might intellectually say it's not true, but it's still there. So I'm going to invite you to join me on this. Mine was, you know, you're not good. I just think that's such a funny thing because I think I probably am, but this belief is still there. So you're not good enough, or you're not good, or you're not kind. And I know that's an old belief, and it doesn't matter if it's true or not, it's there. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to invite you to think about a belief you have about yourself that is in there. It doesn't matter. It's not intellectual. This is not whether this is true or not, but that it's in there in you at this time. It's like a shadow or an echo voice somewhere in there. So I'm going to ask you just to take a moment and see if you can find that belief and to write it down. So if you have not got a pen in front of you, then take a moment and just sort of write it on the screen of your mind, because it's always there as backdrop in your mind anyways, but write it, visualize yourself writing it. If you have a pen, write it down. Okay. Give you another 20 seconds to think about it. It's important you find this thought, this belief. Okay. Everyone got it? So I'd like you to look down at that thought or on the screen of your mind, have it in front of you, that thought. And I'm going to ask you a question. I want you just to watch what goes on inside of you as I ask this question. So here's the question. It's very simple. Look at that belief in front of you. In my case, I'm not good, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not kind. And here's the question. It's very simple. Is it true? I'm going to ask again. Is that belief true about you? Think about it a little more deeply. Is this belief true? Is it really the truth about you? So I'm not sure where you have arrived, what has happened inside of you, but I'll ask you to reflect on what happened inside of you. So as you heard me ask that question for the first time, is it true? What did you notice happen in your mind? For me, it was like a little bit like Teflon. It's like, I didn't really take it on board. Okay. Second time, the question, okay, all right, let me think about this. So I thought, but it didn't really make a mark. It actually took me to the third time when I asked that question, but is this really true about you? Actually, third and fourth time, somewhere in between the third and the fourth time, this little tiny voice in me said, no. And by the fourth time, when I asked, but is this really the truth about me, who I am? It's like, no, it's not. So I'm hoping that happened for some of you out there. I'm surprised that it took that long, but I'm very glad that it happened. Because when the voice inside says no, now for the first time, I am in touch with the real me. I'm actually, that voice inside is the inner ally of the soul. And this one knows me profoundly, knows the truth of me inside out, and knows that that belief is not true beyond a shadow of a doubt. So, what is true about me? I'll invite you now just to close your eyes and we'll go into a gentle meditation. Just take a deep breath so you can be quiet in your body. I'd like you to come behind the eyes and the silent space in your mind. It's like a room in your head, but it's a room that's beautiful and open and clean and spacious and bright. And you, the being, sitting in this room, we could visualize a sparkling star. But this is the voice of the inner ally, the voice of the soul that knows the truth of me and knows that all the beliefs and thoughts that are maybe swimming around in me knows that actually those are just acquired on my journey through time. But actually, the truth of me, that I'm actually very kind. I'm actually a soul who is a giver, not a taker. I am one who cares very deeply about others. And I care about myself. I care to be the best that I can be, but I care with a very gentle, soft wisdom that allows me to hold myself with the kindness that I would give others. Take your hand and place it on your heart, and take your other hand and place it on that hand. I am a beautiful being. I am a kind and compassionate being. And with all the mistakes that I have made, none of those mistakes change the fact of my inherent goodness. I am fundamentally good and kind. You can give yourself just a little self hug, a little wiggle, little arms on both shoulders, crossing over the center line. So we're connecting both sides of our brain and we're going beyond logic and rational in this posture. It's a very good posture in which to say anything affirming about the self. So kind to self, very important. And we can only be kind to ourselves when we connect to that deeper aspect of self, the part of me that is beneath the surface, not the surface level noise. So now let's look at being kind to others. I've been to the Philippines. I've been to the Philippines actually twice. And being to the Philippines, I know what kind people you are. In fact, you may be one of the kindest people I've ever met. I'm hoping you can see this screen. There we go. You're one of the kindest people I've ever met. In fact, it's very possible in the being kind to others department that you maybe overdo it. So there's a balance to be found in the kind to others. But one thing I'd invite you to is to consider that when we are kind to others, we are basically being complicit with goodness and with God. So I'm going to invite you to consider standing inside a golden circle of protection. So wherever you're sitting, imagine a golden circle surrounding your chair and sit right at the center of that golden circle of protection. And I invite you to do this for a couple of reasons. For the first one is for you to stay safe inside this circle. So imagine that God's light is surrounding you as you sit in this circle. In fact, it's God's light, like a spotlight of light, that is making the shape of this circle around you. Every time we are kind to others, we are essentially being complicit with God. And we are being complicit with God's task, God's job, God's purpose is to awaken the goodness in every soul in order to create a world of goodness. We have come so far from that. And I think we all know that. And yet we know that inside each of us, goodness is there, kindness is there. It shines under a bushel, maybe. And so those of us that are reconnecting with our kindness, are reconnecting with this basic goodness, are reconnecting with God and reconnecting with our desire to create a beautiful world. We are, every time we are kind, we are complicit with this goodness and with God in that moment. But we have to protect it. And how we protect ourselves with this kindness as we stay close to God, but we also stop ourselves in every situation to ask, am I being over caring? Am I living with the illusion that I can fix someone? Am I in the belief that somehow I can care for everyone? I cannot. But what I can do is I can I can create an attitude of kindness. So instead of jumping into everyone's story and trying to help with them with the million things that they need, because so many souls need so much right now, I can develop an attitude of kindness whereby I give good wishes through my mind, and I give strength and I give power. And this is the kindness that is not over caring. This is a kindness that helps others pick up the energy they need to do what they need to do in their lives rather than doing it for them, rather than over involving myself in other people's stories. So I think we're going to have to move to questions. It's so short. I've really shortened it, but I'd really like to do actually either we do questions now and then I save the meditation for the end, or we do this meditation now, whatever your guidance.
Maybe we could do the question and answer so that the meditation would be there, going away present sort.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Happy to.
I did exercise, and I noticed that when we want to know if we are kind, you mentioned we have to, and definitely I did it too. Why is it that we even have to ask ourselves repeatedly before
Why?
you know, we could know the qualities of it when we now reflect on ourselves of our qualities. It's of our truth 3 times, 4 times before we know. Why is it? Why do you think it is so? Yet we could acknowledge others' goodness.
Were you able to arrive at no as a resounding, solid no inside of you, Poyet?
More of no.
A little bit.
More
See?
trying
Just
to,
a little bit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
like used to being positive for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to be forced to repeatedly ask it. What do you think?
Exactly. And I didn't go far enough if you didn't get there. So I need to go further. I need to ask it 5 or 6 times before you get there. Why do we need to have someone else almost push you to stop from that discursive, that inner narrative that is fueled by I'm not good enough, I'm bad. And if you look at the behavior, the over-caring behavior, that can also lead to abuse that comes from you trying to disprove this belief inside of you. That's why it's so incredibly important that we stop and we look at that disbelief, that belief, and we say it is not true. Then the power of the self emerges. Why does it take so much? Well, we can say we're so accustomed. It's just a habit to think this way about ourselves. It keeps us humble. It keeps us small. It keeps us in line. It keeps us people pleasing. It keeps us from losing the love of those around us who might be afraid of the power that is inside of me. It might keep me safe from the power I'm afraid of that exists inside of me. Lots of reasons why, but the point is, it's really important to get to that voice. Because until you feel inside of you this powerful no, that is not true, then you will try and compensate in your behaviors. You will become over caring. You will get yourself in situations that are really bad for you and actually enable bad behavior in others because you're trying to disprove this belief about yourself. Does that make sense?
Or in a sense, you rather than self-reflect, you try to reflect from the mirror of others.
Exactly. Exactly.
Could be abuse. You go beyond. I like the idea. Yeah. So thank you on that. In a sense, really finding your truth, not be the first one to pull yourself down. In a sense, not be the first one to pull yourself down. You're also the first one to pull yourself up by finding the truth. In terms of kind, I like the idea. Really, the quote of "I am complicit of goodness" and being with God, and that of a circle. And I think that is easier to know that I am kind if I connect myself with God's kindness of sort. So when you said complicit, yeah, that's more in a sense that lifts up you as your truth. being associated with your connection with God, as well as that you said balance, meaning that would help you not tip over, because now it is not the others that you connect to know who you are, but finding your truth by connecting with with God or the supreme being. So that, I think, is an exercise that we have to learn, of connecting ourselves with God, so that it's easier for us to accept our truth rather than connecting with others to know our truth, which we usually do. So that's sorry, it's a reflection. The second is, how then could we, given the circumstance, and I think this was the kind to others, given the circumstances, you know you're kind, but because of all the circumstances you're fighting, how could you be consistent? And maybe it's just a matter of what you have earlier said. How could you be consistent to be kind in a world that seems to be unkind?
Thank you for that. Beautiful thoughts. I feel like on your first thought, God's light, when I connect with God, I feel the beauty in myself, and it has to be feeling. And the God of my understanding is a God that is love, only love, no punishment, no fear. So anytime I turn to God, I instantly feel my own beauty because God sees that. God sees my own beauty in such a way, has never not seen it, always sees it, is my consistent partner and friend and ally for living. So he's my reliable source when I forget my own kindness or goodness. So when I feel that, then it's easier for me to feel a bit full of love. And then it's easier for me to be kind with others. If I'm relying on others to be kind to me, in order for my kindness to come out, then I will lose my kindness because there's less and less kindness in the world. And it makes me very, very dependent on others then, which means I will get trapped in the games of people pleasing and I will get trapped in the games with others. I mean, the beauty of the Philippines, you live in a very communitarian society, unlike, some Western countries where we're very individualistic. And the beauty of that is that the collective is really important. And so there is love and kindness and care and close connections and relationships. The downside is it's a little bit harder to stand in your own light. It's a little bit harder to listen to that inner voice of truth that says, you know what, I'm not going to cross the line in this situation. To be truly kind, I can't cross that line. I can't step beyond my own protection, my own, what I feel to be true for me in this case. If I know I'll be giving myself away too much and I will get myself trapped in having to do and do and do for another, or to, I was in India just recently, and one of our seniors said to me, it was very beautiful, I'll share it with you. She said, whenever we fulfill a negative desire of another soul, then we get trapped, we get hooked in their story. And I think that's what happens when we don't stay within the line of it's a job of discernment, and it takes time, but it only can happen when I listen to my inner voice, when I'm internally focused for understanding what is the right thing to do in any situation. When I first look inside, when I look up to God, and then I will know, is this what I should do? If I'm feeling any struggle, should I, shouldn't I? Should I jump in and help with this person? Should I do this? Shouldn't I? If I feel any struggle, then I know probably the answer is no. But I'm uncomfortable not helping because the pattern is set, right? The pattern is so set. It's so hard to change some of those patterns. But true kindness would be to establish a relationship with that person where I'm not a slave or a victim or a constant helper or a doormat or, but times I find I'm in relationships where I am the one offering the kindness all the time because I can tell there's something that has to be settled here. There's something in this relationship that I have to put right. And if it means I'm going to help this person more often than maybe I want to, then I'm going to change my attitude. And I'm going to help them with a good attitude so that it's actually the love that they will receive. That's the true help we could give any soul. If we're helping them physically but withholding our love, then that's not actual kindness. That's physical help. Kindness is an attitude of giving. And my attitude of giving can happen from a safe distance. That's the power of the mind. That's why we meditate. And that's why every day here in the meditation center, we do a mind service,
Mhm.
service through the mind, where we spend 5 minutes every morning and we just pick somebody, some situation in the world, and we focus our good wishes on that. So an attitude of kindness, it becomes like benevolence. It means in every situation, people's honking at me in traffic, and I go, oh, bless you. Oh, bless you. Somebody, cut in front of me in line, and instead the inside goes, I'm in a hurry, or, there's a little anger or frustration. Instead, it's like, oh, bless you. You must be having a hard day. The attitude of kindness is one that sees that everyone's in sorrow, everyone's struggling, everyone's bad behaviors are driven by their own unkindness to self, their own negative belief about themselves. And I can only see that if I stay a little more quiet inside. So that's why the inner reference, instead of the external reference points of people around me mirroring back to me that they like me, that I've been kind enough this week that they now are, okay with my presence, or, that I've pleased them. If when I make the people my external reference, as you're saying, then I'm always dependent on that mirror. I mean, yes, I can check. It's good signals. Oh, maybe I was off with somebody today. Good signals, but not my true mirror. My true mirror is my conscience, my inner voice, and my inner ally in God.
Great. And with that, thank you. And maybe at this point in time, it's very good now to bring back the practice we have on meditation, just to wrap up.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Poyen. Great questions, tough questions, good questions. Thank you for asking. I know we were a bit short of time. I hope we did it justice, though. I feel like we maybe did the topic justice, did we?
I believe so. Yeah, such a
I think
short,
we did.
quite
Well
substantial.
done. Okay. All right. So why don't we focus on kindness for others in this situation? So let's just bring our awareness back inside and, hand on heart, very good way. And maybe put your middle finger on your forehead just for a moment so that you sort of point to the center of the forehead, and just be aware that behind that point is the sparkling being of light that lives in the brain, in the human body, and that's the soul. So, this is the one I'm speaking to right now with this meditation. And this is the one that has an attitude of kindness. So, let's just be in the awareness of that one as we sit here. And also, yeah, let's start like that. So my nature is this one. My nature is loving kindness. My eternal nature is like the eternal source of unlimited love. My natural nature is one that constantly gives and uplifts. Let me take a moment and just share my natural nature with the world, but let me touch it for myself first. Let me feel my own kindness, my own natural nature of giving. And I open my heart and I allow a feeling of lightness, of love, of kindness to emerge within me. And I'm aware above me that God's light is shining down on me and that God's unlimited love is reaching me. And I hear like a whisper in my mind, may you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with joy and ease. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. And may you live in joy and ease. And now I invite in your mind's eye, I invite you to see a loved one before you. And maybe this is someone in your world who is hard. It's hard that you're struggling to find the boundary, the right border with. Bring that person into your mind and then reconnect with the source of unlimited love and feel God's love flowing into you. And then let the whisper in your mind now include this one. It is a whisper from God coming into your mind for you, that you are now also bringing that other one in to hear this whisper. And this is God's whisper to the two of you now. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with joy and ease. Again, let this energy flow to that person. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with joy and ease. And feel your heart expanding with all this love and light flowing through it. And feel yourself getting closer and closer to God's unlimited love. And now see in front of you, in your mind's eye, see the globe of the world. And bring into your mind all of humanity. And just aware of all the suffering and the sorrow in the world at this time. But you're going to share this attitude of kindness. Feel God's energy again coming down into you and now flowing out to the world. And you are safe inside this golden circle of God's protection, but with an attitude of kindness, this energy is going out to the world. And God's whisper in your mind is now going out to the world. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with joy and ease. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live with joy and ease. Let me remember today my natural nature is one of loving kindness. My natural nature is like the eternal source of unlimited love. So let's continue our day remembering our natural nature and live with an attitude of kindness. Om Shanti.